Welcome to the Everything Works Out for Us podcast. My name is Marina, and I'm so happy that you're here to join me on this journey of embracing a growth mindset that's grounded in gratitude and self-awareness. I'm an REBT mindset life coach, actor, singer, content creator, and the bigger sister that you always wanted. And I'm ready to start turning our mental and emotional roadblocks into road maps. In each episode, I holistically utilize psychology, spirituality, and my own personal experiences to strive to empower you to step into your power and deeply connect to both your inner knowing and the world around you. Let's grow together. Hello, my beautiful listeners. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the pod. I hope you're all having a very relaxing week and that you're doing well. I've been having some extremely insightful and meaningful conversations with some of my friends lately, and I'm feeling extra grateful for the wonderful people that I have in my life. I just feel really lucky to have friends and loved ones with whom I can have fun with, but also really be able to sit back and reflect on conversations with and learn and grow from them. So anyway, shout out to the homies. You are all real ones. And this week, I want to discuss the topic of judgment. I'll start off by saying I'm a Virgo. Yes, I am, but it's written in the stars that I tend to be a judgmental person. I'm kidding, but I'm not. Okay, so I'm not just going to push the blame onto astrology and wipe my hands clean. No, it's something I know about myself and I'm working on. But as always, the more that I can come to understand why I do certain things, the quicker I become motivated to let them go and to spin less healthy traits into healthier traits that serve me and serve others. So this week, I want to jump into how judgment presents itself in our daily lives, both in the thoughts that we have towards others and towards ourselves. I want to unpack how it may have evolutionarily saved us, naturally, right? All comes back to psychology. So I want to unpack how it may have evolutionarily saved us in the past, but now it no longer serves us for the most part. And I'll touch on some of my own ways that I'm freeing myself from unhealthy judgment patterns. But super quickly, before I get into it, make sure to give the pod a 5-star rating if you're enjoying it, because it super duper helps me out. And go ahead and engage with me on the episode polls and the questions that I have. If there's anything that you'd like for me to discuss on a future episode, let me know. And I've also been tinkering with the idea of having some guest hosts on the show. I am really wanting to collaborate. So if you or someone you know would like to hop onto an episode, definitely reach out at everythingworksoutforuspodcast@gmail.com. Yay. Okay, so as a baseline, let's just describe what judgment actually is according to psychology. Judgment is a term that refers to the process by which people make decisions and form conclusions based on available information and material combined with mental activity, thought, and experience. So in my opinion, judgment is strongly tied to comparison. Typically, when a judging thought presents itself in your mind, whether it be good or bad, you're adding that person to a hierarchy in your mind, or like this comparison chart to place them into a category. And same thing goes for when you judge yourself as well, right? You place yourself up against a potentially unreasonable, unrealistic, or unattainable version of yourself. Just to all get on the same page, let me just quickly go over some judgmental thoughts. Stuff like, I look fat in this outfit. That guy running on the street looks so silly. Her makeup looks so tacky. The comment that I just made was so stupid, etc. You know the drill. Thoughts or comments like these are the types of things that I want to chat about letting go of today, but as always in the pod, I want to cover both sides of every story. So no, judgment is not always a bad thing. Like so many of our human qualities, judgment also stems from evolution. So when we were all cavemen or whatever, making judgments helped keep us safe and alive. if someone put the tribe in danger, judgments would be made about them, and then they'd be exiled from the tribe, therefore keeping everyone else safe. And then, therefore, today, if we make a judgment about, let's say, a person on the street late at night who tries to approach us, and we exit the situation immediately and make sure to keep our pepper spray close because we had a judgment about them that they may be sketchy or unsafe or whatever, that could save us in a potential life-threatening situation. However, a judgment like that versus a judgment about what someone else is wearing at work and therefore refusing to talk to them because you assume they're weird, two totally different stories. You're not in danger at work. That's not a life-threatening situation and not necessarily evolutionarily based. So today I'm chatting about the latter. It's been clinically proven that the negative feelings and actions that result from unnecessary judgment have a significant effect on our well-being and can lead to anxiety, depression, and high stress levels. Judgment can become so second nature when we get wrapped up into it, and in my opinion, it can become a way to self-soothe. That realization sucked. When I sit back and I have these breakthrough thoughts about habits that I have, or essentially toxic traits that I have in order to self-soothe myself, I'm like, oh God. It's just so disappointing, but it's true. I mean, judging when we're so used to it because it's so normalized in society, it can be so easy. It's like a quick fix. Oh, that girl said something that upset me. She's such a bitch. It's the quick dopamine hit that you give your ego. No reflection is involved whatsoever. You're immediately putting yourself higher than someone else to make yourself feel better. That way of self-soothing, go to therapy, like, which I'm doing, it's just not a healthy way to self-soothe. I'm trying to like regulate myself by judging someone else. So if you take a step back and you realize that the people who feel very confident, fulfilled, and happy with themselves and their own lives, they're never the ones to express these judgmental statements. Even if they may think them, even if you may think them from time to time, there's no need to outwardly bring someone else down to lift yourself up. That love has to come from within. You can't judge others enough to love yourself. Sit with that one for a while. Because I'm a human and I've obviously spent my fair share of time judging others, and especially because I'm a Virgo, judging them from a place that I thought was pure intention, like judging someone for what they eat, because if they just ate healthier, then I know that they would feel better. But at the end of the day, that journey is not mine to control. It's not my life to live. I can't judge someone enough to get them to change. And I think something a lot of vegans and particularly struggle with is judging people for what they eat. And then this quickly turns into a holier than thou mentality and power struggle. And even though it may be well-intentioned at first, again, you can't judge people into change. You can only lead with love and you can only live your life. You can only live in the way that makes you feel good. Acceptance is the opposite of judgment, and the ironic thing is that when we can accept others for exactly who they are, a lot of the time people naturally want to blossom into the best version of themselves anyway, simply because it's a safe space to do so. And additionally, when we're so afraid of being judged all the time, we're very limited in terms of what we're capable of. And this is why I'm so adamant against fear-based coaching or teaching, or anything really, fear-based religion. I know that's controversial, but I choose to not live in the fear of God always hating me and judging me and having to prove that I'm worthy. I choose to believe that God and the universe loves everyone and that they're completely judgment free and we're allowed to make mistakes because at our core, we are all good. When I was in acting school, I was taught in a very fear based environment, and I was absolutely terrified of failure and judgment from some of my teachers. It was legitimately crippling. I mean, my body was at a point where it was starting to shut down. I would get sharp pains everywhere. I wouldn't be able to sleep. I was nauseous all the time because I was so terrified of being judged by my superiors, and I had to work so hard to attain this impossible ideal of perfection. And know I was going to be judged regardless. But anyway, I digress. It was not a safe space to fail. And because I lived in this fear of being constantly judged, I don't think I was ever able to truly express myself or be as vulnerable as I could have been, just as a human or as an actor, had it been a nurturing, judgment free environment, you know? So, coming to many of these conclusions in my adult life, recognizing the environments and the relationships in which I felt highly judged has taught me the kind of environments and relationships I want to foster that are the opposite of that. I want to hold safe, judgment free spaces for people, and this includes strangers. And this takes work coming from the conditioning of a very judgmental society, very competitive society. It's hard to step away from the gossip and to not just giggle along to fit in. And it's hard to notice your judgmental thoughts in your mind when they come up and to redirect them to something actually productive. So, this is when I encourage both you and I to be curious. When you notice judgmental thoughts popping up in your own mind, get curious about them. That's it. Obviously, the first step is self-awareness, being able to pinpoint when these thoughts are occurring. So once you're there, then you can start questioning them. Like, why does it matter if you think that person looks weird or if you think that what you said was stupid? Are those things that you're thinking actually true, or are they a result of conditioning? Is the thought really yours, or are you just influenced by other people's opinions? Are the thoughts actual facts or opinions? That one's huge. Is it fair of you to think these judgments? And additionally, how are you feeling right now? Are you thinking these judgmental thoughts because you're not feeling confident, happy, secure with yourself? Are you tired, hungry, angry about something? Do you notice more judgments coming up when you're in these lower vibrational states? All of these things are really important things to start gaining a basic awareness of. And in the beginning, it may be really difficult to recognize these things. And especially if you're not as in tune with your emotions, that's a whole separate journey on its own. But you can just learn so much from it when you notice, in your own emotional state, the vibrational state that you're in. If you are feeling sad, are you noticing a lot more judgmental thoughts? It goes hand in hand. So, lastly, all roads lead home to empathy. Would you want someone else to think or say these thoughts about you? So, why would you think them about someone else? Or why would you think them about yourself? Something I've particularly struggled with recently is facing a lot of self-judgment, really being hard on myself, comparing myself to an impossible standard, wishing I were more happy, more healed, more talented, blah, 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 bleh, barf. And when I take a step back, I would never ever say some of the things I say to myself to another person, not to a stranger, let alone a loved one. For me, I've actually really been able to step away from the judgmental thoughts about other people. And that's just me on my journey. I find it a lot easier to pour love into others than I do for myself. And yeah, that's my journey at this time. is giving myself the love that I so freely want to give to others. If you don't know, I live by a lake, and I absolutely love my lake walks and lake runs. They truly keep me going. They keep me fueled, both physically and mentally. So, anyway, I was on a lake walk a few weeks ago, and I found myself just staring at the waves in awe of their beauty. And on that day, the lake was particularly calm, but I've seen this lake in many different states. I've seen it on a beautiful, calm, sunny day with a low tide, on a cloudy, windy day when the waves are really rough and high, on a freezing winter day where there's blocks of ice everywhere and some not quite frozen yet water is trying to push its way through the ice, and everything in between. It's a lake in Chicago, so 4 seasons. Lots of differences in this water. Yet every single time I look at this lake, I stand in awe of it and its beauty and its vastness. And I never judge it for what it looks like that day, for the size of its waves, for its changing states. It just is. It's the lake. It flows as it's supposed to, when it's supposed to, how it's supposed to. And that little voice in my intuition popped up as I admired the water that one day, and it said, free yourself from the judgment like you free the water from the judgment. The water is going to continue to do what it does in the way that it does it, and I will always watch it in awe. The water is free to do whatever it's called to do without me placing judgment on it, and so am I, and so are you. In a conversation with one of my friends, we were chatting about how difficult it can be for us to be nice to ourselves sometimes, and it's a lot easier to just continue down the spiral of self-judgment instead of trying to stop the cycle. And we decided that having to redirect unhealthy thoughts feels like doing intellectual backbends. That was the term we the term we coined. The phrase we coined. What's saying? You know what I'm talking about. Whatever. Anyway, the more that we stretch, the more we consciously redirect our thoughts to release judgment, and the more flexible we become, and the easier it gets. We may start off by doing these backbends, and it's really hard, but we will get more flexible. So the one thing I've been doing is trying to talk to myself like how I would talk to a pet, with absolute unconditional love and acceptance. If my cat accidentally knocks something off the counter, I would maybe roll my eyes, but still remind her of how much I loved her, and it's okay, and it's just a plant. I can clean it up and move on, and she is still so worthy of love and praise and a treat and all that's good in the world. So when I get the urge to beat myself up after what I felt was a bad audition, for example, it's now my job to shrug my shoulders, know that it's not the end of the world, and that I can just have a better audition next time, and I'm still worthy of love and of work and of success. Again, the key here is empathy. It's okay to accept that the audition didn't go well and that you're disappointed, and it's okay that that person, whatever that person said, hurt your feelings, and it's okay to make a mistake and wish that you would have maybe said something different in that scenario. However, with that, knowing that you're still talented and worthy of working after that audition, or just because the person said something maybe kind of rude to you doesn't make them a bad person, and they could have just been having an off day. And just because you said whatever you said, it doesn't make you stupid. It makes you a human who is not perfect, which is okay, because no one else is perfect either. When we release ourselves and our situations from the quote-unquote good or bad, what's left just is. It's radical acceptance. Living in the what is rather than the rights and wrongs or the goods and bads. It's so freeing. Living in the same unconditional love that we have for our pets. What a beautiful life that is. That kind of self-talk is what I strive to have 100% of the time, for sure. Especially the patience that we have for our pets too. Almost my whole life at least my adult life, I have prayed to have more patience. And when I prayed for this, I really did it with the intention of having patience for others. And I think that kind of tied into being me knowing that I tend to be judgmental and I just want to have more patience for other people. And of course, when you pray for something, you never just get it. It's not magic. The universe, God, hands you or places you in situations in which you will get to practice what you're asking for and gain that skill set or whatever. And I feel like over the last few years, I really have become a very patient person with others. I, of course, have cracks in my patience, but compared to where I was years ago, I really do feel like I am a very patient person, and I take pride in that now. However, I'm still very much getting there with myself, like I mentioned before. So thank you to all of my friends and loved ones who have encouraged me to be patient with myself on my self-discovery journey. Here I am, always reminding others that they do not have to be, nor should they ever try to be perfect, because perfection doesn't exist. Yet here I am, frustrated that I don't feel 100% healed, whole, basking in self-love 100% of the time and fully self-actualized. But a healing journey is just that. It's a journey. And maybe not even a healing journey, just the journey of your life, of you blossoming into this being that just radiates self-love, and therefore you have so much love to give to others. But this journey of life, whatever journey you may be on, it has ups and downs. That's normal. That's beautiful. That's okay. And I'm saying this to remind myself as well. I think acceptance is the antithesis of judgment, but patience and empathy, the two sisters, of course, are absolutely the roads that will help lead us there. And I think that's a pretty solid way to wrap up the episode. I think that's all I have left to say. So as I leave you this week, as always, I'm sending you so much love. As you continue to practice patience, acceptance, and self-love, continue to stay curious. Since energy is never created nor destroyed, reclaim the energy that you'd use to judge and channel it into love instead. Love for yourself and love for others. All right. I'll see you next week.